Hello and welcome to this video. It is Diana Marchand, and in this video what I'm going to show you is a really fast and easy meal. Now when I first made this, I coming up with it because I made it yesterday for myself. When I first made this, I actually started by making the quinoa first. Today I already have some made, so I'm going to show you how to do it from cooked quinoa. Now, one of the fastest and easiest things, of course, to do is to have some things pre-made in your fridge and your veggies, all that stuff ready. But here's what I did. When I got home yesterday, I didn't have anything made. So what I did was I quickly cooked the quinoa. Now, quinoa takes maybe 20 minutes, that's it. But while you're cooking it, you could be doing other things, right? Like I did a bit of dishes, I got some of these things done up. So I had the cooked quinoa, but what I did to flavor the quinoa, because that has no flavor, I used white quinoa, and what I did was I began to cook it, and I also added, just in water, and I added now I would have used fresh garlic and fresh onion chopped up if I had it, but I didn't. So I used garlic powder and onion powder, and I also decided to flavor it with, I have a bone broth powder. So if you also have some, this is on, vegetable broth, one of those little cubes, or which I like to use, the organic veggie cubes, or some organic veggie stock of any kind, you could use that. You can even cook the quinoa in an organic veggie or whatever kind of stock you want to use, just the same amount of water. So you would use whatever, it's usually 2 in 1. So I cooked a cup of quinoa, half a cup. I used 1 cup of water and a half a cup of dry quinoa. Doesn't make a lot, but that's what I did. And then I have a chicken bone broth powder that I bought. So I thought I'm just gonna flavor it with that. So it was 1 cup of water, half a cup of quinoa. You boil the water first, add the quinoa, and it's just like making rice. I added probably a tablespoon and a half of this bone broth, maybe 2, I didn't really measure. And I also added garlic powder and garlic and onion powder, about 1 teaspoon each probably, or a half a teaspoon, something like that, didn't measure. Or like I said, just chop up some fresh garlic, chop up some onions. It doesn't matter how much, okay? It doesn't matter how much. You can always flavor more later, and that's what I'm gonna show you. So I cooked my quinoa, then it was pretty much cooked. I added in some green peas, some frozen green peas. So there are some frozen green peas in here. When the quinoa was pretty much cooked, I added the frozen green peas, put the lid on it, and then you let it sit till it softens a little bit. That's what I did. So then I added salt and pepper to it. Now I wanted not just quinoa, this is what else I did. I have some organic black beans in the fridge. In the counter. I rinsed and drained them. So I usually keep organic black beans and chickpeas usually, and maybe some white beans in my pantry to use. I highly suggest that with any stir fries, with any quinoa itself, with any salads sometimes, right? I myself don't eat meat, so I do things like this so that it helps fill me up also. And beans, of course, have fiber and minerals. It's just when you are eating in midlife, you want to have way more of the non-starch here, way less of like the vegetables, greens, even a bit of quinoa, and way less of the actual starchy beans, okay? So this is how I'm gonna put it together once I have my cooked quinoa. All right, so I just boiled a bit of water in here in a pan. And today I'm adding Swiss chard. Sometimes it's chopped kale. I have Swiss chard from a farmer's market today, so I'm gonna add some. So I have the water in here, right? It's hot, it was boiled. A bit of water, just a tiny bit in a pan, okay? You don't wanna boil it. You just want to, so it doesn't stick to the pan, right? So I have some great Swiss chard. This is the young Swiss chard. Excellent. Now, I love lots of greens. So I'm gonna load up on greens right now. That's a lot of greens, and this is maybe not even a cup of quinoa, but it cooks down. So I'm just gonna, remember there's a bit of water in here, and I'm just gonna steam the greens. There they are, they're cooking. Why I don't use a steaming basket is because a steaming basket, all the nutrients from the vegetables leaks down into the water, and then you throw out the water. Here, it gets cooked right in, and you don't lose that. Now, yes, I may have to drain a little bit of the water out, but still, so much of the nutrients are going to be in here. So what I'm gonna add is some black beans. And because there's only flavoring in the quinoa and I'm adding black beans and some greens, I'll probably add more flavoring. And now another great flavoring you can use with black beans is chili powder, cumin, right? With the onion powder and garlic powder. Really, really good. I love that with black beans. But today I'm going to stick with what I used yesterday, which was a bit of an Italian spice mix, just a mix, Italian spice herb blend. And I have a bit of a Thai spice blend you don't need to have, but I happen to have it. I bought it at a health food store like in there that sells groceries and in bulk. So I have a bit of, it's called a Thai spice blend. And it's a bit spicy, but you can just use Italian spice. And again, like I said, you can use chili powder, cumin powder, a bit of paprika too for this blend, and it would be amazing, amazing. So I'm just letting this cook down a bit, right? So here it is. And then I'm also gonna be adding some coconut oil. I always love fat. So good fat, coconut oil is really good for you. And I love to have like kind of that little bit of fat added. Fat, it helps us metabolize fat. Fat's good for our hormones. We need good fats for our hormones. We need good fats for brain health too, okay? All right, so this, as you can see, there's really no water left over. It's perfect the way it is. So what I'm gonna do is add the quinoa as much as I desire to use today. I think that looks good. So I'm actually still leaving a bit behind. And then I'm gonna add some black beans. And now it's getting dry in the pan, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water. And again, I'm gonna add some of my coconut oil, okay? I load up on this stuff, like I'm serious. I never, that's probably a heaping tablespoon. And then, of course, some green peas. Like I said, I was gonna add, these are frozen green peas. I was just gonna add a little more. There's already some in there, but I thought I'll just add a little more. I wanna be a little more like veggie heavy today. Greens and the peas. And of course you can add anything like chopped bell peppers to this, chopped celery, real chopped onions, but you wanna saute and cook those a bit first before you add the greens then. But this is how I make my, oh my God, I make so many meals like this. I can't even tell you. This is so fast and easy, especially if you have quinoa. You know, you can use a few rice noodles mixed in this too instead of the quinoa, right? If you have wild rice, I recommend wild rice, not regular rice. If you are wanting to lose a bit of weight, right? Okay, so now I'm just gonna taste a little bit of this. Add a little bit of water, especially when I add dry spices, right? Turn it down a bit. Now, there's not a lot of flavor right now, so now I'm gonna put some more flavor in it, which is my Italian spice blend. Like this is like a 1/4 teaspoon because I also have my Thai spice blend. Probably add another 1/4 teaspoon of this. So the best thing, of course, is to add less. Start with less and then you can add more, right? Don't just go throwing in a tablespoon, especially if you have only a small amount like this. This is my garlic powder. Again, probably 1/4 teaspoon. And onion powder, and I do recommend fresh garlic better. It is better, but when you're pressed for time, garlic powder, I use good organic spices and they're fast and easy to add to meals, really fast and easy. But I do prefer the fresh, and I love cooked garlic. All right. And salt and pepper. I added salt and pepper to my quinoa, but we need it. And I always use a good Himalayan salt, and I like to grind my own pepper too. All right. Now you can see how fast and easy this was with the cooked quinoa already. And like I say, the cooking the quinoa is doesn't take a long time, right? Okay, let me just flavor it. Super hot. Perfect. This is great. I'm adding just a tinge bit of water. Shutting it off. There we go. Perfect. All right, now my spices. You don't have to overthink things. You don't have to, healthy eating does not have to be complicated. And like I said, when you're adding, it's not a crime to have some beans or chickpeas or lentils or things like that. But oh my goodness, make sure that you have way more of the least starchy things. And quinoa. Quinoa is also, yes, kind of a starch, but it is high in minerals and high in protein. And so I recommend it. And I have never had a problem with like weight gain or anything using quinoa. But, you know, always be more vegetable and green heavy when I'm talking about it at first, okay? So if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of weight to lose, then yes, quinoa is a fantastic thing. Okay, I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. So as you can see, you see way more of the vegetables, the greens, than the quinoa itself, although quinoa is totally fine, like I said. Just always have it mixed with vegetables or greens. I don't have my bowl with me, which I forgot. So I'm just gonna show you, I'll dish it up in here. And then I'll show you. There's some of the stems of the Swiss chard that are kind of longer, but that's okay. You can add chopped avocado in this too. And you know what I added yesterday, which was really, really good, was tomatoes. So I highly recommend adding some tomatoes. There you go. May not look that pretty, but I can tell you it's delicious. And fast, easy, and filling, okay? So give it a try. And having something like this on the side of a fish, having fish, or if you have meat too. And I do usually say, no, don't mix your starches with your meat proteins or fish protein. But when you have just a little bit of quinoa, way more vegetables and greens, it is pretty much okay. Quinoa is probably one of the safest things to have on the side of meat or fish, other than rice, potatoes, or anything like that. All right, here's your video for a very quick, easy, delicious lunch or dinner. Thanks for watching.